The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen. Sunday night action for you tonight. The RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series Championship Race here at Kansas Speedway. Season winding on down. A long season for these K&N drivers. Troy Radford doing an excellent job. Went to the top of the board for a minute here in happy hour. We've got about 10-11 minutes left or so. So we're going to get a little business out of the way real quick. Want to thank everybody for joining us once again here on Turn 3 Racing Network. I am Dave in the Cave, and got my good buddy Cody Early up here in the booth with me. Cody, how you doing?
Dave, I'm excited. It is great to be back in the booth for this, the final race of the RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series tonight here at Kansas. And what a night it's going to be, because the championship is far from over, and there's a lot of other positions in the points that are still up for grabs tonight.
Yeah, there is a lot of points up for grabs for a lot of different drivers. Lots of different battles all throughout the race here tonight that we're going to have to try to wrap our heads around and keep track of. But let's see if we can't take a moment to talk to today's race sponsor out of Mason-Dixon Motorsports, Adam Novak. How you doing, bud?
Good, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Man, we appreciate you sponsoring the race. All you guys down there at Mason-Dixon Motorsports, Justin Walters and Jason Edmonston joining yourself on that team. Just give us a little bit of background why maybe the choice was to fund this race and name it the Parkinson's Foundation 100.
Well, I mean, it's just an honor to be able to sponsor a race no matter what cause it's for. This one has a personal relationship to me. Is my grandmother was diagnosed with Parkinson, so just wanted to raise some awareness. That's about it.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate you sharing that with us. We've had a lot of stories like this all throughout the season with you drivers all sponsoring races that are close to the heart. And with that being said, does it make it any sweeter if you can find yourself up in the podium positions maybe here tonight?
Oh, for sure. I mean, you want to win any race, but when it's family ties or anything like that on the line, it definitely makes it more sweeter.
Well, we hear that, my man. Before we let you go, before we let you go, Adam, would you like to give any shout-outs, thank yous, love yous here before you get yourself ready to go qualifying?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my teammates, Jason and Justin. I'd like to thank you for what you do. I'd like to thank all the guys at Racing for a Cause and NEXTGEN.
All right, my man. Well, good luck and elbows up.
Thanks, man.
There you have it, Cody. Adam Novak, driver out of the Mason-Dixon Motorsports stable, just giving us a little bit of insight onto why the members of that team and himself personally chose to name the race what they did. And every race we have something that's close to one of these racers' hearts. And being somebody that's at a lot of different tracks, Cody, you can probably attest to the way that makes drivers approach races on nights that they've got something special with it.
Oh, most definitely, Dave. And you take a look simply at the RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series, what they have done. They have highlighted so many amazing causes throughout the season this year. And just the few races I've been a part of, I've seen that spotlight shine on so many great causes. And tonight we're going to do that again with the Parkinson Foundation 100 presented by the Mason-Dixon Motorsports here at Kansas Speedway. And I don't know if this was the plan for Adam and his group, but man, the final race of the year, championship on the line, the lights are on bright here at Kansas Speedway. I think he picked a great race, Dave, to especially present.
Yeah, I mean, that's you hit the nail on the head right there. I mean, what better way to get a little bit of exposure, maybe more than some of the mid-season races. It is the championship race, so you're going to have a lot of fans, friends, family out there watching, so definitely get you a little bit more exposure possibly, I would say. With that being said, we're going to catch up now, Cody, with two of the drivers battling for the most coveted spot this season, Troy Radford and Dale Osmond. Only 8 points separate these two drivers, and we're going to see if we can't dial up that 49 of Troy Radford for just a moment. It's Dave and Cody in the booth. You got your ears on, bud?
I do. How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, Cody? You doing all right over there?
Troy, we're doing good, man. We're excited to see how this thing's going to shape up tonight. Tell us about that race car being on the track so far in practice. What's your gut feeling right now?
It's going to be a hard one tonight. The car is very loose, especially early in the run on exit. On top of that, it's traditional Kansas where it's high line only. There doesn't seem to be much of a low groove here. So it's definitely going to be a tough one. I think you can burn up your tires early, but at the same time, I don't know that you can I don't think that you can pass somebody on the low side right now. So it's going to be a hard one tonight.
One last question before I give you back to Dave. Troy, tonight, what's all at stake? There's 8 points separating you. Is tonight one of those nights to where you points race for some of this race, and then if you're in a position at the end to go for the win, you pedal down, or you just simply go after it tonight?
I'm pretty much going to do the same thing that I've done for the last 4 races. I've been very, very lucky to have won 4 in a row. I don't think I've ever done that in my career. So I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to drive smart. I'm going to try to run up front early if I can. And, don't put yourself in a bad position. Don't get damaged. Just ride it out. That's it. I mean, just try to be smart. Heck, I'll take a win if I can get it. But at this point, if Dale gets all the bonus points, wins, and I finish second to him, I think I'm still going to get it. If it is a tie in points, it comes down to who has the most wins, which is me. So I'm not going to complain. Obviously I don't want it to come down to that because you'd rather not be that close to begin with. But, you got to kind of know where you're at and what's at stake.
All right, man. Well, we wish you the best of luck.
Oh, thank you.
All right, we'll see if we can't get in a few words now, Cody. Let's see if we can't sneak in a few words with another driver that's been fast all season. Has, I believe it is, 4 wins to his name, and the only man with a chance at the championship with Troy Radford, and that's the 88 of Dale Osmond. You got your ears on, bud?
Yep, I've got you.
Hey, my man, how you doing? How you feeling out there?
Man, I'm feeling good. I'm trying to just take it easy here in this practice, and I'm just trying to get a little calm down for the start of this race.
All right, well, I know we're creeping closer to where you got to get a little more focused and pinpoint accurate for qualifying, about 3.5 minutes before we hit that mark, so we won't keep you too long. We do appreciate your time up here in the booth. Is tonight's race, being 8 points behind, knowing that there's nothing more to fall back on, is it a must-win, a must-dominate race? Do you find yourself at all playing safe, or just pedal to the metal the entire time, holding on to it, just do what you got to do to put that thing in victory lane?
I think it's going to be a long race tonight, but in the beginning I need to take it easy, but I also know that I'm in a must-win situation. I usually drive really conservatively, and that's how I don't tear my stuff up. So I'm going to try and do that for the most part tonight, but going towards the end, I'm going to, if I see an opportunity, I need to take it, and it's a little risky, I'm probably going to do it. But, I'm in a must-win situation here.
All right, my man. Well, once again, I appreciate you coming up in the booth for just a brief moment here before we head off into qualifying. Before I let you go, Cody, you got anything you want to ask, maybe point out or anything like that to KD here?
Being 8 points behind, man, tonight there's only one spot you need. So let's see how that's going to fold out through the night. But when you really look at it, you need to win to be able to get it done, and that's really all you got to focus on, right, tonight?
Yep, I'm not focused on just getting as many points as possible or anything. I'm just focused on winning.
Man, we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, guys.
All right, well, there you have it. Little brief interviews with the two drivers chasing after the first RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series Championship here on Turn 3 Racing Network. And Cody, it's a fine night out here at Kansas Speedway. Air temperature about 64 degrees. Track very, very cool. A lot of grip. Going to be interesting to see how that plays out through the night. If that track begins to rubber up a little bit more, the heat gets to it, we'll have to wait and see how all that shakes out, and we'll also have to wait to see how our points shake out. They look a little something like this. 1.5 minutes remaining here in happy hour. Your points, your championship standings coming into tonight's final race. Troy Radford sitting on top of the standings. Dale Osmond right there, just 8 points behind. Gordon Larson Jr. just kind of in no man's land right there in third. I don't believe he can gain anything or lose anything, so it looks like Gordon Larson Jr. going to walk away with a great season here in the first season for the K&N Series. And then there's tons of different battles. You can see it right there on your screen. The closest battle is about from 9th to about 12th. There's a big cluster of cars right there. That should shake up a lot of things throughout the evening for us. Doug Wasaki right there with Chris Medford as well, 4th and 5th. 5th and 6th right there as well. So a lot of close battles, going to change up a lot of different things here for us tonight on Turn 3 Racing Network. And Cody, we're about 30 seconds away from going into qualifying. What are you expecting to see, as you turned a few laps earlier out there in one of our Turn 3 cutaway cars? How was the track for you?
Well, I'm just going to tell you, Troy made the comment there was no grip on the bottom. Well, it's going to show you who is really driving these cars tonight, because I wanted to keep the car at the bottom of the racetrack, and I struggled. So I really think we're going to see these cars move to the top. It's a really, really grippy track, but a lot of these drivers here in practice, you see a lot of loose race cars, but we've heard a lot of them over the scanners saying there's a lot of grip out there, so it's kind of a mixed emotion. But earlier when I went out in the car, it was definitely very, very loose.
All right, so we'll have to look out for loose race cars here. See how they react here in qualifying as the green is being shown for our 10-minute session here in qualifying. We'll see who jumps out there on track, and look at that. One of your championship contenders, one of the very first drivers to hit the track, that 88 Sun Drop. Arca Menards K&N Chevy Impala looking sweet as it always has. And Cody, I don't know about you, but it makes me thirsty when I see that car.
It does me, especially now that temperatures are starting to heat up for sure. But I'm telling you what, that Sun Drop car has been fast all season long. And as we see him out on the racetrack tonight, tonight's going to be no different, I do believe. He can avoid some trouble.
And I think we're going to see most of these drivers here tonight stay up on the high side for their first time lap. Then most of them are going to cut it down to the bottom. We're more accustomed to seeing a larger pickup at the super speedway, the restrictor plate races, in doing that. But Katie Osmond using that method here at Kansas. 1.53 mile track here in Kansas City, Ohio. Would you imagine that? No, just kidding. It's in Kansas, of course. It's Kansas Speedway.
Yeah, I was going to say, we were all pulling out our maps up here in the booth once you said that. I looked at that earlier, and I thought, wait a minute. What? Where am I? But yeah, we are in Kansas tonight as we see race cars on the racetrack, and right off the bat, we're seeing some quick times go up on the board.
Yeah, we're still watching that 88 of Katie Osmond go down the backstretch into turn number 3, heading off through the center of 3 and 4 now. Kendall Levron sitting on top of the speed chart in his number 8 machine. The 4 of Michael Massengill sitting in 6. Where does Osmond shake out across the line? Back to the top of the speed charts for Osmond. So we'll begin to throw your qualifying order down for you. See who else is out there. Looks like the old school Mark Martin, a Valvoline number 6 of Eric Blount out there making his laps. Oh, into the wall on his second time lap. That's going to not be too good for him. Probably going to slow that lap down, so it looks like he's going to be back around the 9th, 10th spot here in qualifying. Few other drivers already putting in time laps. Brian Mescal Jr. laying down his lap time, only good enough for the 5th position right now. Not seeing too many other drivers out there. Cody, who you got your eye on?
I just watched Lance Yancey make his lap. He's 4th quickest right now. Of course, he was a winner earlier this year at Daytona. He just went with a 31.292, good enough for 4th. But right now, the Kendall Levron, that number 8 machine, he is in the championship battle sandwich as he is between KD Osmond and Troy Radford right now. But as you said, not many drivers on the track, but I just see Damon Cox put up his first lap. And I'm telling you what, I'm loving the Bobby Allison paint scheme that he's got on that ride tonight in the 57 car.
All right, a little bit of a glitch there. Not seeing things the way I needed to, but now everything seems to be good and going. Sorry about that, folks. Anyways, on track, on screen, the 84 of Chris Meffert. Looks like he's tagged the wall, stuck up in it. We all know how sometimes that wall, once you touch it, it just kind of wants to grab you and keep you held up in there. Now the 46 of Justin Walters begins to roll off of pit road for his time lapse. He'll get up to speed here, and we'll see if he's got a little bit of blinky action going on there. Not sure what's going on with that one. So we'll see if it'll work itself on out, Cody. Not looking like anybody else out there on track.
No, I just now seen Gordon Larson. He's out on the racetrack in the DuPont machine. I love those paint schemes he's got on there tonight. He's the guy that, if you look at anybody on the roster, he's the guy tonight that can throw it all to the wind. It's all about going out there and winning tonight. He has no pressure. He's more than likely going to finish third in the points when it's all said and done. He just has to go out there tonight and just go for it.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of drivers are going to be just going for it tonight. As we mentioned, the 4 drivers about 9th all the way to 12th, all pretty close right there. So I don't think anybody's going to be point racing out there tonight in the championship race, and it's good to see as good a turnout here for the championship race. Looks like we've got about 20 drivers out here scheduled for tonight's Parkinson's Foundation 105 minutes remaining here in qualifying. Looks like we may have had all the drivers that wanted to qualify go ahead and put down their qualifying laps. The 82 of Tyler Hilton just kind of hanging out at the end of pit road. So yeah, I wonder what's running through some of these championship drivers' minds, Cody. I mean, you go out there, you lay down the fastest lap like Katie Osmond did. Now you got one job done. Now it's the big challenge. I wonder how comfortable or how nervous he is right now.
I would say he's pretty nervous, but I think, Dave, you talked to him a few minutes ago. He knows what he has to do. I mean, I feel like his demeanor coming into this race is, my job is to win this race. That is number one. That's the only thing I've got to do is win this race. And I think there's going to be a little more pressure on Troy Radford to try and manage this, to try and stay there, to try and avoid trouble, because with this good of a turnout, you're going to see some lap traffic. And if this thing goes green, you're going to see those leaders in lap traffic. And I mean, we've seen it happen already this year at Richmond earlier when I broadcast with you. Leaders in lap traffic can result in maybe a rough night.
That it can. And with about 3 minutes remaining here, Cody, we're going to go ahead and step away for a brief commercial break, then to go down trackside for the national anthem. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we do appreciate you tuning in here to Turn 3 Racing Network for the RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series Parkinson's Foundation 100. And yeah, stick with us. We'll be right back.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly wailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars
Woo-wee! If that don't get you ready for some great racing action here tonight at Kansas Speedway, I don't know what will. Qualifying in the books, and K.D. Osmond put his Sundrop Arkham Menards Chevy K&N Impala on the top of the speed charts. Drivers beginning to hit your starting grid, so we'll check in with the field on pit lane here and see how things are lining up for tonight's race. The Parkinson Foundation 100 being brought to you by RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series. Your pole sitter for tonight's race, the 88 of K.D. Osmond. Lining up to his outside on row number 1, the 8 of Kendall Levron. Row number 2, the 49 of Troy Radford, followed by the 1 of Dustin Ping. Row number 3, the 77 of Lance Yancey, and the 33 of Brian Maskell Jr. Row number 4, the 67 of Chris Berg, and the 4 of Michael Massengill. Row number 5 here tonight, the 83 of Brandon Medford, and rounding out your top 10, the 6 of Eric Blount.
Rolling off in row number 6 on the inside, it'll be Gordon Larson Jr. in the 01 and Derek Robinson in the 38 to his outside. Row number 7, it'll be the 57 in the Miller High Life machine of Damon Cox, and to his outside, the 00 of Roy Hyde. Row number 8, it'll be the 82 of Tyler Hilton, and on the outside of him in row 8, it'll be Alan Westman in the number 17. Row number 9, it'll be the 21 of Jeffrey Van Voort and Corey Walters in the 14 to his outside. And in row number 10, the 46 of Justin Walters, and to his outside, the number 84 of Chris Mefford.
Row number 11 here tonight, the 34 of Douglas Wasaki, and the 45 of Brian Snare. Row number 12, the 71 of Jason Edmonston, and tonight's sponsor of the race, Adam Novak, the 44. Row 13, the 22 of Cody Terry, followed by the 47 of Ray Radford, and that's going to do it for tonight's starting lineup. We're getting ready to go. Pace car is off.
Getting ready to roll 150 laps on the board. The green flag is out. It's championship night at Kansas Speedway.
Championship night indeed. Little bit of glitchiness action going on for us over here, so we'll see if we can't fix that real quick for you there. Looks like everything's finding a way to make itself. Oh, looks like we're still having a little bit of those issues. K.D. Osmond still sitting at the top of the speed charts. We're going to see if we can't get this worked out real fast like. Oh my, oh my.
K.D. Osmond, front of the speed charts. He's at the front of the point now. Troy Radford, into the wall, outside hard. Kendall Levron, he gets into the turn 4 wall. He's going to fade back drastically, but still we stay green as the top 2 championship contenders are out front as lap number 1 is up on the board.
Lap number 1 in the books, and we're still having a little bit of issues. They're starting to slowly calm themselves down. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to break away for a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Welcome back, Turn 3 Racing Network. Some technical difficulties as we're all working through the social media, social distancing with COVID-19. But we're back, and I'm telling you what you've missed is the top two putting on a show. Katie Osmond and Troy Radford, they have been nose to tail so far with 15 laps into this 150-lap feature in the final event of the 2020 season for the RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series. And now the front two are nose to tail as they battle out of turn 4 and across the stripe. They put 16 laps on the board, but I'm telling you what, there's a driver in third right now, Lance Yancey, who has been prowling the top two. And don't look now, but he's got company. Chris Berg is on his bumper, but the highlight is on the top two right now in the point standings because there is a championship on the line, and those two dive off into turn 3. Those two continue to battle out front. We're talking Katie Osmond. We're talking Troy Radford out of turn 4. Nose to tail. Lap 17 on the board. Radford's going to go to the bottom. It's simple for these two. Pretty much win, and you walk away with a championship. Now, with 17 laps on the board, these two continue to battle nose to tail. Some of the other battles across the racetrack, Roy Hyde, he finds himself in a race with Derek Robinson also throughout the field. If you take a look at the point standings, well, you can see Damon Cox. He came into this 8th in points, right ahead of about a 5-car race. Well, he's fell back, and he is fighting in position number 18 right now. But we are here at the Kansas Speedway, the RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series, the Parkinson Foundation 100, presented by Dixon Motorsports. Myself, Billy Early, along with Dave Worrell in the booth. And hopefully we are getting all the racing action to you on this Sunday night.
Yeah, and as you mentioned there, Cody, appreciate you taking over for just a minute as we finished working out some of the bugs over here. Sometimes things don't always work in the virtual world the way you want with everything going on. You know, maybe the computer caught the corona there for a minute, I guess. I'm not sure. I don't know. Don't really have a good explanation for you, ladies and gentlemen, but we got you back on board. Anyways, we troubleshot it, got you what you needed, and that's that 49 of Troy Radford hunting down the Sundrop machine being driven by Katie Osmond. Those top two in the point standing, sitting top on the scoring charts as of right now. You mentioned Lance Yancey, hard charger of the race, sitting right there in the 3rd position. It looks like we've got a few battles out there, Cody, all over the track.
Yeah, we do, but I'm telling you what, get that camera back to the front because Troy Radford is beating on the back bumper of Katie Osmond. The top two in the points are going down the back straightaway, and I'm telling you what, they are within a half a car length of each other, and that last time Radford was beating the back bumper of Osmond. We're only 20 laps into this, but there's a championship at stake, Dave, and they're battling already.
Battling it is, and drag race into turn number 1. Radford with the preferred spot down there on the inside lane, hugging that middle lane. Actually now scooting up, slide job, no! Crossover by Osmond. They're going to drag race down the backstretch.
Dave, what this has done, it's bringing Lance Yancey right to the back bumper of the top two. But you go back to the pre-race. Troy Radford said the bottom just wasn't working. Dave, and Lance Yancey's into the wall out of turn 4, but he's going to hang on to it. What I was saying was Troy Radford said the bottom wasn't working. Well, he made it work down in 1 and 2 for the lead.
Yeah, and sometimes if there's a will, there's a way, and you've got to will these things into some of these corners. Sometimes it pays to be a little bit more brave than smart, I guess is the words I'm looking for. I'm sure a brighter man would have worded it a little bit better, but these drivers, I mean, they're showing they're after it, and they're after everything they can get. And Troy now well and away in front of that 88. Maybe Katie might have to pull a little strategy here as he's losing some time as we reach lap 23 out of 150 scheduled here in tonight's official race distance.
Yeah, and I'm getting over the receiver that it looks like Justin Walters has pulled it in to get a little bit of service on that number 46 machine. But we go back out on the racetrack, and coming into this, you was taking a look at Chris Mefford. He was 5th in the point standings. He finds himself in a race right now, and he is in a big heap of cars. Really the biggest battle of the night. There's 3 cars there under a blanket. including Medford. Also, you've got Walters and Dustin Ping is prowling them. You take a look, that's 15th, 16th, and 17th on the racetrack right now.
And, I mean, there's little battles like that all over the track. The 33 of Brian Mescal Jr. all over the rear bumper of Dirty Air Racing teammate Roy Hyde and his 00. Those drivers trying to make their way up through the field a little bit here. As we're, I haven't heard anything about fuel mileage so far out there tonight from any other crew chiefs or drivers in a happy hour. So I'm going to say that the pit window somewhere about the lap 46 to 50 laps for fuel on these guys, and we'll just have to wait to see if that's correct. Watching right now, still on track, that 84 of Chris Medford having to deal with Jeffrey Vandervoort all over his rear deck lid.
Yeah, and that is a battle that has just raged on here for the last few laps. And you mentioned the pit window. Boy, it'd be nice to have Larry McReynolds here in the box with us with his pit strategies, because I am terrible with math. But I do know this. If this race continues to stay green, Dave, you're going to see pit stops be so important, because any ground you lose on a racetrack like this under green flag, it's hard to make up.
Oh, and Chris Medford into the wall, was stuck on the wall there for a little while. Finally got broke loose of it, and that rear end broke loose. Almost a bad moment there for that 84 machine. He gets it corrected, righted, and going in the right direction. The 57 of Damon Cox now working his way around Medford. Medford with a big time scared there for just a minute, falling all the way back to the very back of the pack now. So that just lets you know how big of a moment that was. Back up front, however, Troy Radford has been able to grow his lead to a 1.1 second gap, and that's starting to build the distance you need to relax a little bit. The aero push out of these cars are real, and you're starting to see a little bit of the distance come into play between all of your top five. Looking back now at that 17 of Alan Westman, he's starting to close in on Lance Yancey and Chris Berg.
Yeah, and Lance got into the wall outside. Oh, trouble out of turn 4, and it's just as I say that, Alan Westman gets into that outside turn 4 wall. And it's the same thing Lance Yancey did about 8 laps ago, and his car hasn't been right since, and I think there may be some damage to the right front of that Venom number 17 car of Alan Westman as he falls behind Eric Blunt.
Well, I'll tell you what, we can check out a little bit of that damage with one of our onboard cameras here. Great shot looking over the shoulder of that 6 of Alan Westman, who's going to go ahead and pull it down pit road. Enough contact for him to want to bring it on down, and I believe the driver coming down pit road just in front of him is Lance Yancey. There you can see some of the scrapes and damage across that 77 machine as well as the 17.
Yeah, and oddly enough, Dave, both of those drivers clobbered the outside wall coming out of turn 4. And really, you run so fast around this Kansas Speedway. You run so fast, you carry so much momentum that whenever you do come off of turn 4, you've got to make that hard dive to the left to get back down into that tri-oval that sometimes there's just no grip.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we're going to hear the drivers speak about in the post-race interviews here later on tonight. Still a lot of great racing left to be had here at Kansas Speedway before we get to those post-race interviews. But with the way a lot of these cars are reacting, it looks like grip is what everybody's screaming for, and we've had drivers hit pit road, multiple drivers, 3 or 4 actually coming to pit road already. Ray Radford joining Alan Westman and Lance Yancey on pit road. Regular service for all 3 of those drivers tonight. But I mean, it's more drivers. Eric Blunt hitting pit road, Dustin Ping on pit road. Looks like we're beginning to see drivers maybe decide that the tires mean more than the fuel.
Yeah, and with that being said, and the lap times that Troy Radford is putting up, I feel like he's very comfortable with his car right now. And if a driver's comfortable with his car, then those drivers going to pit road right now, it doesn't really affect him. Some tracks, once you see cars go to pit road, you can't afford to stay out. But with the lap times, the 31.423 is what Troy Radford is running now. That is close to the qualifying speed we saw earlier. He's very comfortable, and Dave, I think he's content to ride right where he's at. And as I say that, he makes the left-hand turn to pit road.
Yeah, and I think that was just because right before he decided to bring his machine down pit road, Justin Walters, who had been on pit road for an extended stay, down 4 laps, coming out with some very, very fresh tires, was able to work his way around Radford and get one of his laps back the hard way. Looks like Walters should be able to gain 1, possibly another 2 laps here throughout this cycle if it plays out for him, having that extra fuel. We're watching the 67 of Chris Berg make his way around this track here tonight for your championship race, the Parkinson's Foundation 100 here on Turn 3 Racing Network.
Yeah, we're seeing a ton of cars right now on pit road. It is Calamity Corner as really everybody inside of the top 10 is now in the pits. You would have to think you're going to see Chris Berg come to come to pit road really soon. Him and Hilton and Mescal Jr., you'd think they can't afford to stay out much longer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure about the tire wear, but I'm sure it's... Oh, and Mescal Jr. hot on the pit road, taking out the commitment cone there. Not sure if that's going to give him a penalty here. We do know that NASCAR is pretty strict on pit road entry. Not sure how the iRacing officials are going to call that one, but nonetheless, looks like we've got a lead change. The 44 of Adam Novak now taking that top spot as he continues to stay out on track, and it looks like he is the only driver still out there on track that has not made a pit stop. Interesting little call there as I say that. Wouldn't you know, looks like he's slowing up, getting the car down there to the apron for a calculated smooth pit road entry.
Yeah, it's good to see him stay out there and lead that lap. Of course, Mason-Dixon Motorsports, the group helping put this race on with Adam Novak, Jason Edmonston, and Justin Walters, of course, helping put this Parkinson's Foundation 100 on here at Kansas. So good to see him stay out and have his name at the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, but I think when it's all said and done, I think the man that's going to come out with the upper hand here is actually going to end up being this 88 of KD Osmond, now being scored once again as your race leader, working his way off of turn number 2 and has got the 00 of Roy Hyde in his sights. Roy now being scored, the first car 1 lap down, so that was a big time gain for KD to come out with the race lead. And what has happened to Troy Radford? I believe he may have ended up with a penalty or running out of gas because he has dropped all the way through the field. Here we go back here, 21st position. That is going to be a tough one to overcome as we continue green flag racing since the drop of the green flag, Cody. That's a big time mistake very, very early.
Yeah, Dave, I'm going back to look at that. He is 1 lap down, and when you take a look at where he was at when he pitted, he had to have had a pit road speeding penalty to come in to go a lap down simply because his pit stop was somewhat quick as well. So our points leader right now, if we don't get a caution, he's going to have to really force the issue. And when you take a look right now at the running order, KD can kind of just cruise and put some laps down.
And we're trying to check with the racing stewards up there high above, checking everything out for us like they always do. And it looks like, yes, Troy Radford was hit with a pit road penalty, had to come back down pit road a second time. So it looks like he went ahead and just put right sides in it and had to stop for 5.7 seconds. So tough break for a championship contender. But does that mean that this 88 can now just kind of relax, calm down, and just let the race fall in his lap the way that it will? knowing he's got so many positions between himself and Troy right now. That's a big time point swing.
Yeah, Dave, and that's something deep down inside. That's got to be eating at Troy, because that's mistakes he just does not make. And here tonight on the biggest scale for the RFC K&N, or NEXTGEN K&N Series, that was a huge hiccup in maybe the biggest race of the year. But right now, Katie Osmond smoothing. He's got a 0.3 second lead over Westman and Yancey and Blunt, and even Bird in the top 5. He has a comfortable margin as Roy Hyde just went back around him to get a lap back. I think simply he is cruising right now and letting these laps unfold.
And I mean, we got to keep in mind too right now, although the battle at the front looks fairly close between Westman and Osmond, you got to remember Westman was on pit road 3 to 4 laps earlier than Osmond, so his tires are probably going to wear out a little bit sooner. And, they came to pit road because of early damage, early contact with the wall, and look at what it's done for them. They've found themselves in second and third, respectively. Now, if Radford hadn't had his pit road issues, Cody, I think he'd be up there in the first or second spot, but, we can't speculate on that as of this moment. And, looks like we've got Lance Yancey losing a position now to a few cars.
I think Lance kind of got into that outside wall again. He has flat spotted the right side of that Pennzoil number 77 machine. It has flattened the outside part of that race car. You got to think the damage he's got from getting into that turn 3 and 4 wall earlier, you got to think that's got a wear and tear on that car some. But I do want to point something out. If we can get a caution, now this is a big if, Troy Radford is on the back bumper of Brian Snare. Now, change that. He's just now past the 45 of Brian Snare. So, if we get a caution, Troy Radford has put himself in position to get that lucky dog. So, if we see a yellow, it's race on again, Dave.
Yeah, and I mean, he's got some other drivers back there in company that may be in danger of going a lap down very, very soon. Watching the back of the field, you do have Damon Cox, Dustin Bing, Roy Hyde, all right there, trying to stay on the lead lap as well. They're about, just a handful of seconds away from going a lap down, and that's not what Troy Radford wants to see. He wants to see himself be able to get that lucky dog position, so he is praying. And caution out on the racetrack.
Trouble out in turn 1. Lance Yancey, contact, and he's around going into turn 1. I just caught it out of the corner of my eye. I didn't see what exactly caused the accident, but I did see him go around. But Lance Yancey, you got to think it's trouble on the right side of that race car as the caution flag flies. And I'm telling you what, Troy Radford just got handed an early Christmas present.
Yeah, and I tell you what, let's take a look on it with our turn 3 replay. Gonna have to go back a little bit further than that as Lance Yancey had a ride through the grass. We'll back it up a little bit further and try to find him once again as he's jumped around on us on the scoring charts. Looks like maybe he had another scrape with that wall, and the wall won that time, Cody. And that sent Lance Yancey sliding through the grass, trying to be the wheelman that he is, trying to keep it out of the outside wall. Unfortunately, does spin it around onto the racing surface. That's going to bring out our first caution here tonight at Kansas Speedway. So, yeah, I mean, lucky break, as you said, for your race. Well, let me stop. Okay, we're going to rewind. Good Lord. You knew what I meant. So, yeah.
I had you, man. I was ready to go with it.
Well, it's good somebody has me, because I don't have myself sometimes, apparently.
Lance literally hit the same exact spot at a turn 4 that he clipped it earlier as the entire first group of race cars, the lead lap cars, are on pit road.
As we rejoin the field live, everybody on pit road. Alan Westman back down and away. Can he beat Osmond off of pit road? No, he won't. Osmond will lead the field off of pit road. Doesn't look like we had any stayers. So with that being said, we're going to step away for just a brief commercial break, and do want to say this first and foremost. All of you sticking with us through the little issues, trials, tribulations that we have here sometimes, do appreciate it very much from the bottom of our hearts. So, yeah, appreciate you sticking with us here on Turn 3 Racing Network. Field under caution. We're going to break away. We will be right back.
We got big-time problems with that motor, buddy. Hey, just between you and me, the idea is to avoid the other cars. Congratulations! You just set the sport back 30 years with that move. That move will put you in the Hall of Shame. You keep doing stuff like that and we're going to lose our sponsor. Looks like that's it for us today. Now I know why you got canned by your old team. It's over. We can't fix that damage. Looks like your car is toast. You'll need a tow back to pit lane. Press and hold your reset button and we'll come and get you.
Back live here on Turn 3 Racing Network Championship Night. Here tonight from Kansas Speedway for the Parkinson's Foundation 100 here, the RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series, bringing some great racing action. One to go. Base car lights are out. We do have a few waiver rounds going by the pace car. Gonna catch up to the rear of the field. And as you mentioned before we went to break, Cody, a Christmas present very early for a championship contender. Troy Radford getting his lap back, now sitting back in the 15th position. He's going to have a chance to redeem himself, but he's going to have to be careful next time we have green flag pit cycle.
Yeah, most definitely. We've got 50 on the board, 100 still to go here in the Parkinson Foundation 100. Mason Dixon Motorsports putting this on. They'll stack them up 2 by 2 behind the iRacing pace car. Katie Osmond, Alan Westman, row 1. Eric Blunt, Cody Terry is now moved up into that 4th spot in the outside of row 2. Jeffrey Vandervoort is in the 5th spot, and Derek Robinson in the 6th spot as we get ready to go back to green. Kansas Speedway here on a Sunday night, final race of the RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series. And Dave, we haven't done it all night. Why don't you say we do a Turn 3 Racing Network? Crank it up.
The 17 getting loose behind that 88 of Katie Osmond. Man, I love it when we get to turn it up here on Turn 3 Racing Network. Watching the 6 of Eric Blount try to get up there and challenge for the race lead. Alan Westman, he's got to have a handful right now after being sideways off of Turn 4.
Yeah, Dave, and when we was turning it up, I was looking and almost broke Mike silence because Cody Terry come off of Turn 4 and decided to do some landscaping work in the tribal on the front straightaway, but he got it squared up. But, man, started 4th on that restart. He's all the way back to 21st right now. A tough break for that number 22 driver out of North Carolina. But back up front, Eric Blunt's trying to run him down. And don't look now, but your RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series points leader, Troy Radford, who restarted 15th, is up to 7th, Dave, and he's coming.
Yeah, and just caught my eye back here. I was stuttering to even try to get it out of my mouth. The drivers we're watching now, all the way from Troy Radford back here to Damon Cox, and even Tyler Hilton just behind him running in the 15th position. Man, it was a huge wad of cars, too wide for a few of the and the 4 up into the wall on the outside of the double O. Michael Massengill hitting the wall just where everybody else seems to like that sweet spot, if you will, right there off of 4. I guess it's catching a little of them off guard. Not sure if it's a push issue or just floating it out there a little too wide.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do, you're carrying so much momentum. And now this groove, this racetrack has moved to the top. Almost everybody around this Kansas Speedway is running the high side of this racetrack. And there's just no room for error, Dave. When you get up there, one little glitch of the wheel, and you're in the wall, and you tear one of these cars up enough, and it's just going to totally take you out of contention. We saw Lance Yancey hit that wall a couple of times tonight, and we've already seen what it's done to his car. He was fast in practice and qualifying, but man, he's all the way back to 17th now.
Yeah, and drivers falling to the wayside just a little bit. Lance Yancey with some trouble, but a driver moving through the field at a rapid pace. I mean, faster than the leader that time by over 0.2 of a second. The 49 of Troy Radford. Man, he is blazing a trail, and I tell you what, we're going to go on board here with that 49 of Radford driving the Lucky Finn project. K&N, Arca, Menards, Chevy Impala. Man, that is a mouthful, I tell you what. They couldn't have picked a harder name for the K&N cars, huh?
Yeah, that's why you make the big money pulling off that name. And in the meantime, Alan Westman's had some trouble. He's dropping back rather quickly. And take a look at your top 3 now. Man, things have changed just a little bit. Jeffrey Vandervoort is up to 3rd in that number 21. But here comes Troy Radford creeping up on the top 3 race cars. And I'm telling you what, Dave, that machine is on a rail. Oh, trouble out of turn 4. I just said that. Alan Westman into the wall, and he is through the infield grass.
We stay green flag racing as Westman went for a ride. We'll take a look at it with our turn 3 replay real quick, but we stay green flag racing. Westman sideways off of 4, almost clipping the 14. Gets it righted, can't get it slowed in hard into that pit wall. That's going to put an end to Westman's night out there tonight. My goodness, tough break for him as we stay green flag racing back live with Troy Radford as he continues to drive his guts out, now losing a little time to those top 3, just about 1/10 of a second slower, but he has made up a ton of time. Looking through the scoring charts, looks like we've got a battle for the 6th and 7th position as Chris Berg makes a pass around the 83 of Brandon Mefford.
Yeah, and that battle's out of turn number 4. They're side by side, almost making. Oh, they do! Trouble! Contact with the 83, and Chris Mefford. And just as you say that, Chris Berg and Mefford get together in the tribal, and they save those cars. Wow.
Wow is right, and they were almost not done wrecking yet. They wrecked, they just didn't crash. The 83 of Medford walking it, trying to save it all the way through the corner. Roy Hyde able to get by. Very, very close call for Hyde, but able to get by And now everything looks like it's a little bit righted. Although those tires are probably pretty angry. Nothing really going on up at the front of the field. Your race leader, Katie Osmond, still with this in hand. 0.3 of a second separates himself from Eric Blount. Jeffrey Vandervoort sitting inside that third position. The rest of your top 5 looks a little something like this. Troy Radford now back on the lead lap, running in the 4th position. And then Corey Walters will round out your top 5 running here as we hit lap number 64 out of 150 here tonight for the Parkinson's Foundation 100.
Yeah, Katie Osmond continuing to lead this race, and I feel like he has kind of found a rhythm. I think he was a little out of rhythm early, but I think he's kind of found a groove now, and I feel like he's got that race car comfortable. I do want to mention one of our cars that is already out tonight, Kendall Levron. Tough break for this guy. Qualified second, had trouble within the first 10 laps, and he is the first car that's going to load him up on the hauler tonight. And looks like his weekend and his season is going to be coming to an end.
Yeah, you hate to see a night cut short, especially in the championship race when you've got some positions on the line throughout the point standings. And with that being said, we're going to run through a little bit of house cleaning for you here tonight at Kansas Speedway. We started tonight's race with 26 drivers taking to the starting grid. We've still got, it looks like, right at the 23 drivers still out there on track. Multiple cars, 1 lap down, though we have 18 cars on that lead lap. The 44 of Adam Novak, first car, 1 lap down, has a gap over the 47 of Ray Radford. Your second car, 1 lap down. Justin Walters with some trouble early in the race finds himself back in the 22nd spot, 5 laps down. Then Lance Yancey, another driver, very fast here tonight. His night has been called to an end, and he'll find himself sitting right in the 23rd, possibly 24th position if Michael Massengill and his crew can beat and bang on that Ford machine and get it out there for a lap or two. So a tough break for multiple drivers out there tonight, but we've still got a very long race ahead of us here tonight, Cody.
Yeah, we do. And, we talked about points in the opening. 8th through 12th in points was pretty much a coin flip through this race. And right now, here's some of those battles. Corey Walters came in 9th in points. He's sitting 5th right now. He's ahead of Chris Bird, who came into tonight in 10th. So there is somewhat of a close battle in the points. Brian Mescal Jr., he's back in 13th right now, just ahead of Damon Cox. Damon Cox came in 8th in points. And when you take a look at the point standings from 8th through 12th, other than Mike Massengill, who's having a little bit of trouble tonight, those drivers, it's really going to depend on where they finish tonight to just see who can crack the top 10 when the point standings come to a close after this race here tonight at Kansas.
And just like that, we've got some troubles again. Looks like it doesn't like a certain button. So, we're going to have to remember, well, not to push that button. What do you think about that? Nonetheless, we're going to stay green flag racing as the 21 now under fire for position. That 49 of Radford right on his heels.
Yeah, those two battle into turn 1 and 2. That U.S. Army number 21 machine of Jeffrey Vandervoort is under pressure. He's going to drop down. Respectable driving right now as he's going to give Troy Radford the high line. And the points leader is now on the prowl for your race leader, Katie Osmond. This time coming to 71 laps in the books.
As we continue green flag racing here tonight, creeping up on what should be green flag pit stops here very shortly. Troy Radford has driven his guts out, Cody, finding a way to make it all the way back up there, now running in the 2nd position after making that pass on Jeffrey Vandervoort. And it looks like he is not done yet. Speed seems to be still in the car, 10th faster than your leader that time by. And I tell you what, we're going to jump back to what looks like it's starting to begin to be a battle. And that is between that 83 of Brandon Medford and the 00 of Roy Hyde.
Yeah, Dave, Roy Hyde has just been very methodically working up through this field. Over this last green flag run, I want to say he restarted 12th or 13th. He has driven himself up to 7th. Well, now he's going to drop down and give the outside to Medford, and Medford is going to take that spot away from Roy Hyde, as I mentioned that. But Roy just quietly, methodically working that racetrack around this Kansas Speedway.
Yeah, and
we got some action on pit road.
I was about to say, it looks like Brian Mescal Jr. and Tyler Hilton both hitting pit road this time by. So it looks like some drivers, as we kind of foreshadowed there, gonna start that pit cycle, see if they can't gain something here with some fuel strategy throughout the night as they find themselves running a little bit back in the pack. Gotta do something, gotta do what they ain't, gotta go where they ain't when they ain't, I guess.
I totally agree with what you just said. I do want to point out that a driver tonight we haven't mentioned a lot. He was the guy coming in the top 10 in points that had nothing to lose tonight, and that was Gordon Larson Jr. Thank goodness he had nothing to lose tonight. The driver in the 01 machine has been struggling since the get-go. Right now, last car on the lead lap, and it's a good thing, Dave. He's got third place wrapped up tonight because it has been a not-so-great night for that driver in the 01 car.
And I mean, when you come into a race like tonight where, you know, you've really got nothing to gain, nothing to lose, you can kind of do what you want. And if the car just isn't there, you can just kind of nurse it to the end, walk away with your head still held high, knowing that no matter how tonight shakes out, you're still going to walk away in the third position in points. So I guess it's just one of those things where if the car's there, you go after it. If it's not, you kind of just Sunday drive.
I totally agree. And as we hit lap 76, we are halfway home in this 150-lap feature tonight. It's the Parkinson's Foundation 100 presented by Mason-Dixon Motorsports. We thank you so much for watching on the Turn 3 Racing Network. And I know Dave has all this stuff memorized, but tell them how they can like and share and all that good stuff, Dave.
Well, I mean, first thing you can do is join us each and every night here on Turn 3 Racing Network. Go ahead, hit a thumbs up, click subscribe, smash the bell over there on the right-hand side. Get notified anytime we go live here on Turn 3 Racing Network, whether it's myself, Cody here in the booth with me, KR, Stolfus, Muth in the booth, Chris, Rick, Danny, Al, any of us. We got great racing content each and every night for you here on Turn 3 Racing Network. But tonight, the showcase is the RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series, and if you need any more information, well, go in that description box, scroll down just a little bit, you can find where we get our cameras from. That's right, head on over there to check out what Esteban does for us here on Turn 3 Racing Network. All camera shots being provided by Esteban and his crew over there, so shout out to him for all the great work that he does as well. A couple of other sponsors that we got to mention real quick as we hit just over that halfway point. Cody, got to pay the bills. You know how it is. RFC, Racing for a Cause, coming together this past year with NEXTGEN Racing Leagues, and they have just put on one heck of a show all season long. So shout out to both of those big leagues coming together, forming a massive conglomerate of great drivers, and so shout out to them as well. And man, I mean, the fans, you, the viewers, each and every time coming out here, we do appreciate it all. There's a bunch of different links down in there you can go and find to hit up the RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series. You can hit up RFC as well, just the NEXTGEN guys. Hey, you looking for a broadcaster? Links down there in the description as well. With all that being said, Cody, bills paid, we are set. Good to go to the finish here as we continue this long green flag run. Only had one caution so far out here tonight this evening, but we have had a few drivers with some trouble. So I'm not sure what the rest of this race will hold for us tonight. Looks like we've got just about 4 or 5 drivers that hit pit road already. Still, most of the field waiting to make their second stop.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I said Dave makes the big bucks. All that stuff memorized, put it all in there, made it sound really good. Now, I will say this about what we're seeing right now on the racetrack. Katie Osmond looks like he is going to be the first of our top cars to come to pit road, and he's going to give up a 2-second lead, but he's going to do that. But right on his bumper, Dave, and coming to pit road is Troy Radford. That means he's going to get fresh tires, and the top two in the point standings are going to regroup. It looks like they're going to be ready to go at it again when they come off pit road.
And man, I tell you what, the battle off of pit road is going to be very close, because Radford looks like he made a ton of ground up on pit road entry. There you see the gap, now closer than what they were on the racetrack. So look for Radford to try to have a very good pit stop. But with that being said, Cody, I wonder if that entry was a little too good. Hopefully that snake doesn't come back to bite a second time.
Oh, man, if it does, it could be catastrophic, because he got lucky with the caution that came out earlier in the race. KD's down and away. It looks like Radford is down and away, so we'll see if the officials, the race officials for the RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series, caught him speeding again. If he did, he's going to have Lady Luck twice. And Dave, sometimes Lady Luck is just nice to you once.
Yes, and sometimes Lady Luck just doesn't like you at all. I mean, I've had it happen plenty of times, but this isn't about me. This is about the drivers out there on track. Chris Berg is still leading the field of drivers that obviously haven't hit pit road yet. Chris Medford sitting in the second position, almost 15 seconds behind Chris Berg. So looks like Chris and, well, the Chris crew, Chris Berg and Chris Medford, only drivers yet to hit pit road. As I say that, there goes that left-hand turn, and the 67 gonna bring his machine down pit road. What will Medford do? Looks like the 84 gonna elect to stay out on track one more time.
Yeah, he's gonna stay out there and see if he can't get a few extra bonus points as they close out the year, as he is in a battle for that 4th and 5th spot with Doug Wasaki. That's a points battle going towards the end. But I want to point something out. You look at your race tracker you got on the board right now. It had to be a great pit stop for our first place. Oh, trouble out of turn 3. Caution is out. I see Brian Musk and the points leader, Troy Radford, is in trouble in turn 3.
Yes, he is in trouble. We'll back it up here. Try to catch it as quick as we can. Oh, and Brian Muskell Jr., he had the trouble, and that's what sent Radford into the corner. Oh, my. We'll back it up one more time with a turn 3 replay again. Oh, my goodness. As we watch the 33 of Brian Muskell Jr. right there behind the 47 of Ray Radford. Everything looks clean between these two drivers, and Brian Muskell Jr. just trouble into the wall, tries to get it off the wall, trying to gather it back and not able to on the track. Oh my, hard impact for Troy Radford right front off of that vehicle, and that is going to shake things up for tonight's race. Oh my.
Wow, Dave, we just talked about that in the opening. Pit road, lap traffic, some kind of trouble, obviously, for Brian Muskell Jr. It looked like he was trying to get up off the racing surface, but in the meantime, so much speed from Troy Radford going into turn 3. The contact, nowhere to go, and wow, I'm shocked. I'm shocked we just seen that, but that's why they say it's never over until it's over. But you just hate to see that for Troy Radford after 4 straight wins.
Yeah, that is a big time swing from victory lane now to being out of tonight's championship race. So this Parkinson's Foundation 100 gonna finish without one of your drivers battling for that championship lead. He was your points leader coming into tonight's race. And, well, he's going to need that 88 to have a little misfortune for a shot at this championship. We'll try to see what the points are going to shake out to, see if we can't get a word with I would call her the greatest thing behind the scenes ever. We'll see if we can't get our very own Jags Drennan on the numbers for us and see where it's going to take the 88 of KD Osmond to finish now that one of our championship contenders are out of the race.
Yeah, and we will see what Jag's going to add up. She's great with the numbers, I will say that. My thing is, does KD still have to win this race to be able to walk away with the championship? Because if he doesn't, Dave, I think you're just going to see him keep the nose clean and stay on the racetrack.
Yeah, I mean, I right now, if I was Osmond, I wouldn't worry about positions anymore at this point in time. I would just worry about finishing this race. We all know that the point system is set up that if you finish a one position in front of the next driver, it's a few point swing, 1 to 2 point swing. So with Radford being out of the race, coming into tonight's race as the leader with an 8-point difference, he did lose a little bit of ground for the pole. But man, that is tough. I think Osmond's got this pretty much wrapped up. As long as he can finish on the lead lap, I think he will take away the championship here tonight.
And you hate to see that, Dave. You hate to see anybody have trouble like that. But when you see a contender, only 2 guys came into this race tonight with a chance at the championship. And I would say if he was to radio in right now to KD Osmond, that's not the way he would want to walk away with this championship. He wanted it to be mano a mano. But, you know, we talked about Lady Luck earlier, well, actually just a couple of laps ago. And, Dave, she showed her hand to Troy Radford, and it was not the good side.
Yeah, and I mean, we think of calling racetracks the Lady in Luck as we just went back real life racing at the Lady in Black, Darlington, the track too tough to tame. So it looks like maybe Kansas might be the well, I better not say that one. I'm gonna say it. It might be the little redheaded stepsister, you know, that gets picked on all the time. Kansas Speedway's gotten mad and has bitten a ton of drivers out here tonight.
Yeah, and as we get ready to go back to green, we've got 62 laps to go. 2 cautions that have taken up 9 laps of this event tonight, which means, you know, we've seen more green flag racing than anything. But that was late in a run. Tires were starting to wear out. Dave, we've got 89 on the board. We got 62 laps to go. And I still think we've got something left in the tank for a show because we're seeing some new drivers up front, Corey Walters and Tyler Hilton.
Yes, we are, as drivers make their way off of turn number 4. Pace car going to make that left-hand turn. We'll get this thing ready to fire off once again. Vandervoort on the gas and away he goes back. Green flag racing once again. 2-car length race lead by the time he hits turn number 1. 88 of KD Osmond still digging, but the 14 now trying to take that 3rd position away. Eric Blount right there as well behind them. That Valvoline machine still looking good. And the battle for the best oil company is real. Mobil 1 sitting right in front of Valvoline. Who is going to win the battle for the... as Eric Blount sideways off of turn 4.
Yeah, Blunt got onto the inside of that machine of Corey Walters. It's just like the air got sucked off of the tail end of that car, and it almost sent Eric Blunt into the infield. But I'm telling you what, Dave, put the championship aside for just a couple of moments. We know that's the priority, but, Dave, we've got some guys at the front of this field that are looking for their first win of the year, and I think the drivers that are up front right now that haven't got a win are going to hunt harder than they have hunted all season long.
And I mean, when you've got the championship contending driver right behind you too, it kind of makes you press the gas a little bit more, try to prove a point that maybe if things had went your way a few times throughout the season, that you'd be the one battling for not only the race win but the championship trophy. And it looks like the math here is going to work out that if Osmond finishes in the top 5, Cody, he will clinch the championship with the trouble that Radford had. Troy not going to be able to fix that machine. He is going to be dropped through the field and relegated back to right around the 21st to 23rd position when it's all said and done. Michael Massengale on pit road, still beating and banging on his machine, as well as Brian Muskell Jr. and scratch that Massengale back out on track. So he is trying to make up a few laps as well, being scored 26 laps down. Brian Muskell Jr. being scored 10 laps down. So a tough break for a lot of different drivers. We've still got 14 drivers on the lead lap. Last man on the lead lap, that 57 of Damon Cox right there, trying to make his way up through the field, trying to make a pass on that 01 of Gordon Larson Jr. and then maybe set his sights for position with the 22 of Cody Terry.
Yeah, and I'm telling you what, we just haven't seen Katie Osmond retake the lead, but the guy that might just spoil the party. If Osmond was looking to win the championship and win the race, he has got company, and that company right now is Tyler Hilton. Hilton in that number 82 machine is prowling the back bumper of that 88 car. He's hunting for his first RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series win, and right now he's on the back bumper of the new points leader, and he's hunting for a win.
Right there, trying to chase down your race leader for the first time tonight inside the top 5. Tyler Hilton taking advantage of the good run that he's got in front of him here today. The car underneath him, wheeling that thing up there to the gearbox of the 88 of KD Osmond, halfway down the back stretch. Now into turn 3, right in the tire tracks. Both drivers going to run the high line, so no slide job or crossover being had just yet. Now right there as they cross the line, Osmond down to the grass.
Hilton prowling the back bumper. He'll work the high side, less than a car length as they go into 1 and 2. This time it'll be Osmond and Hilton off of turn 2. The battle for the lead is going to continue on to the back straightaway as your top 2 putting on a show, stretching out from the field into turns 3 and 4 as they come to lap 98. And a caution is out. Caution flag flies on the back straightaway. It looks like trouble for Jason Edmonston.
That's right, Cody. Jason Edmonston involved in this latest one. So we'll back it up, take a look with our turn 3 replay. There you see Edmonston up there on the high line, and I think we're going to see the theme that we have seen all night. A little bit loose contact with a teammate, Justin Walters. Little bit of touch and around. That 71 goes. I tell you what, we'll back it up one more time. Take a look from above here with the blimp cam. Everything looks good through the front stretch. Coming around the start finish line, heading into turn number 1. Little bit of a blink there for the 46 of Walters. But Edmonston looks okay, and there it is. Braking sideways, contact, and around. Those two teammates go. Tough break. Edmonston able to keep it off the walls. No contact other than a little bit of a bump there to that left rear quarter panel. So tough break for him, but luckily not hitting that inside wall.
Yeah, lucky, because if you hit that inside wall at those speeds, you're going to see a lot of damage to these race cars. And as our leaders go on pit road, you got to be wondering, Dave, is if the crew chief has been in the ear of Osmond saying, hey, top 5, we need a top 5, don't hurt the car, or do you think the crew chief just says, hey, let's just keep doing what we're doing, you just keep driving the race car?
Well, I mean, if I'm his crew chief, I'm not saying anything. If he hasn't noticed Troy Radford not in his mirrors and hasn't noticed that he's not on the relative or anything like that, then I'm not mentioning it. I don't want to break the concentration level because I don't want him to ease up and then possibly that be what costs him the critical mistake. Because remember, he's got to finish inside the top 5 for this all to work out for him still with Radford in his trouble. So you keep them focused, you keep them dialed in, and hopefully out of that outside wall that has caught a ton of drivers off guard here tonight.
Yeah, indeed, and we're setting up for this stretch. We're going to have roughly I would say when we go back to green, we're going to be close to about 50 laps to go. Dave, that's going to put us outside of that pit window. So what does that do? If we don't see a caution, you're going to see some kind of pit strategy. Looks like roughly, now I mentioned this guy's name earlier, Larry McReynolds, but if you pull out the Larry McReynolds calculator, these drivers are going to be roughly about 3 to 4 laps short of making it the rest of the way. That's not even counting possible overtime. So this is going to be a very interesting stretch of the race to see if these drivers can conserve any fuel, or if they try to play a little strategy, maybe work this final run, maybe break it in half with some pit strategy. But we're going to see as we get ready to go back green. Looks like it's going to be right around 50 to 49 laps to go.
Yeah, drivers making their way around with the 2 to go right now. So we're actually going to step away for just a brief moment, as this time by the field will get the 1 to go. So don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We will be right back here on the Turn 3 Racing Network.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
Welcome back to the Turn 3 Racing Network, RFC Next-Gen K&N Series on a Sunday night from Kansas Speedway. Green flag back in the air. Lap 102 goes on the board as Katie Osmond, Tyler Hilton, Chris Mefford, and Chris Berg lead us back to green into turns 1 and 2 in what has been an exciting race tonight, the Parkinson Foundation 100. And right away, we see Katie Osmond jump out with that quick lead over second place Tyler Hilton.
That we have seen that throughout the night, but we have not seen 3 wide there briefly from Tyler Hilton, Chris Medford, and Chris Berg. Those drivers getting a little bit more antsy here tonight, I should say. Antsy, I guess. I don't know. Getting a little bit more riled up. I'm not sure how to put it. But 3 wide, we hadn't seen that all night, and that was a beauty to see, as it looks like we've got the top 7 or 8 here with a big-time breakaway over the rest of the field. Last car in this train right here is the 21. There you see him on screen right now in the U.S. Army Arca Menards K&N Chevy Impala, Jeffrey Vandervoort.
Vandervoort's there. I'm telling you what, hard charger of the race right now would have to go to Cody Terry. He went all the way to the tail end of the field, had trouble early, went through the tri-oval grass. He drove all the way back up to the 10th, and right now very comfortable in that 10th spot as the lead continues for Katie Osmond stretches out as he is, somewhat on cruise control, Dave. I feel like that car has gotten a lot better here in the middle of this race.
And it could just be saving the tires a little bit more as we watch the 14 of Corey Walters after shaking the car, trying to make sure everything was good to go. Do keep in mind new tire models and everything here with the K&N Series cars. You can blow those tires after contact, so shaking the car, making sure everything's fine. He drops a few positions now, finds himself running just inside your top 10 in the 9th position, but losing ground very quick to the driver in front of him, the 00 of Roy Hyde, who is trying to see if he can't make his way around Robinson, Vandervoort, Eric Blount, all right there just in front of him.
Yeah, and that is really the best battle on the track. Really, you take a look back, Chris Mefford, Chris Berg, Blunt, Vandervoort, Robinson, that group, that's really the best battle, because right now the top three are starting to spread out on the racetrack until you go back further into the field where you see Roy Hyde. Roy Hyde's back there in that 8th spot. Also Dustin Ping in that group. But right now, drivers are starting to fill out their cars. 107 laps on the board. We got about 44 to go here in this Parkinson Foundation 100 presented by Mason-Dixon Motorsports. And the new points leader and our race leader right now, Katie Osmond, showing the way. Yeah, and unfortunately, it looks like we're going to have a spoiler for you out here tonight at Turn 3 Racing Network. That's right. Spoiler alert. So if you don't want to hear it, I'm going to give you a brief moment here to mute your audio. So when I count down to 3, or count up, I should say, go ahead and make sure your audio is muted. 1, 2, 3. Your season champion here in the RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series, Dale Osmond. But he has got to finish the race, Cody. He's not just your champion yet. He's got to finish the race. As long as he finishes the race, it has been confirmed, he will walk away with the points championship. So, a very different race now ahead of that 88. Knowing that all you got to do is finish. You don't even have to get that top 5 as I was speculating into. Turns out as long as he can finish tonight's race, he's going to be able to overtake Troy Radford, who unfortunately fell victim to some trouble here tonight at Kansas Speedway. Yeah, unfortunately had that issue over in Turn 3, and that's just how it goes sometimes. Sometimes it's just a good luck, bad luck scenario, and out of all nights, tonight the bad luck showed for Troy Radford, but it has opened the door for the good luck for Katie Osmond as of right now, as Hilton had a really good run on our current leader in that last run. But Dave, whatever they've done on pit road to that 88 Sundrop Chevrolet, it has lit that car on fire, and he is putting up some quick lap times. This last time around, it was a 31.142. Yeah, and I think that may just be a little bit of Osmond just wanting to do it the for-sure way. You know, let's get all the points and everything out of the way. You know, most of the time, and in real life racing in NASCAR, you know, it all comes down to that championship race. And the best way to secure your championship is to go out there and win your championship race. Most definitely, and he is doing that right now. He is putting on. We see race cars all throughout turns 1 and 2. And trouble, Dustin Ping up into the outside wall coming off of turn 2. Looks like we will stay green, but some hard contact for that number 1 Coors Light Kiss Chevrolet. Looks like he's going to pull down off the wall and get back going, but he thumped the outside wall. Absolutely. Going to see if we can't see off of one of our onboard cameras looking back into the windshield, into the cockpit of that one of Dustin Ping. And doesn't look like there's any damage on that shot. We'll see if we can't get a better look at it. Looks like the right side crinkled in just a little bit right there where those tailpipes are. So luckily for Ping, he did not sustain too much damage with that hard contact. He continues to make his way around the track, running in the 15th position. Coming into this race, Damon Cox 8th in points, Doug Lasaki 4th in points. Lasaki was pretty much battling Chris Mefford. Damon Cox was battering Corey Walters, Chris Berg, and a couple of other drivers that have already seen their night come to an end. But there is some races inside of the race, so to speak, that we talked about earlier. And right now, it looks like for Doug Lasaki, he is trying to make up some ground. But Chris Mefford came in tonight in the 5th spot in points, right now running 3rd and he's on point right now, trying to maybe move up a spot in the points.
Yeah, and I mean, what better way, just like Katie, what better way to move up through the points but to have a great final race? That's what the 84 of Chris Medford's trying to do, continue not just on the track, but up through the point standings, see if he can't grab a spot or two away when it's all said and done. And my goodness, Cody, we find ourselves inside of a fuel window to the end of tonight's Parkinson's Foundation 100. This race has clicked off very, very fast. 229 miles when it's all said and done. And these drivers are very close to completing that. Lap 116 on the board out of 150. Oh, contact and trouble. Medford catching the car. Man, Cody, I know we've seen a lot of drivers with trouble, but we have seen just as many drivers wreck without crashing.
Oh, yes, we have, and it's just a testament to the drivers here in this RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series. We've seen a lot of drivers clobber that turn 4 wall and just save it in traffic, not by themselves, pretty much recover in traffic. And as we see second place, it looks like it's going to be Hilton to take the first route to pit road. So, Dave, here we go. Pit strategy. Inside of this pit window, you've got to have one more fuel stop to make it, and it looks like Tyler Hilton and his crew is going to give it a shot now.
Yeah, and that 84 of Chris Medford also hitting pit road after contact with that outside wall. Dove in right there with Tyler Hilton. Katie Osmond stays out on a track leading this field still, and it looks like we've only had 2 drivers hit pit road so far. So Hilton and Medford looking to do a little bit of short pitting and undercut, if you will. Want to give a shout out to my Formula Racing drivers out there. I've been programmed to start saying undercut instead of short pit. Don't be mad at me there, Cody.
I barely noticed it. You said it so nice.
See, now I know you're just being nice.
Yeah, I had to be nice. I had to at least sound nice anyway. But I'm going to set a scenario for you. We had our 2 guys that dove into pit road, Medford and Hilton. They're on pit road. They're a lap down. Here's the scenario. If Osmond hangs on to this lead and can stay down to about 3 or 4 laps to go, come in, get a splash, and get back out with enough room, he can keep those drivers a lap down. But, Dave, there is the other side of the coin. If he goes into pit road, and it looks like our leader is on the apron and he's turning in now, so just throw all that away.
I was going to say, well, looks like your trend and theory went right out the window with the rest of my ideas. So, yeah, that won't be a concern. But looking at a couple other drivers, looks like Gordon Larson Jr. in his 01, he has been able to get on the lead lap after that last caution, and he's got the freshest tires. Nobody really has fresh tires out there. 21 laps for Larson Jr. Rest of the field upwards of 22, 23 laps. So looks like Gordon Larson Jr. may be able to stretch it a little bit. And with his positioning, caution out on track. Osmond on pit road. Looks like Eric Blount on pit road. Chris Medford, maybe?
Yes, Chris Medford looks slow on the back straightaway.
Oh, and there it was, contact. I'm trying to make out who that was that the 84 had contact with. Backwards, trying to get the car to stop, coming to a stop, finally caution being thrown, and I am not sure who that actually was that had contact with Medford there. See if we can't get a better look at it. Oh, and it looks like that was a driver out of Mason-Dixon Motorsports, Adam Novak. Slight contact with the 84 of Chris Medford. That's going to send him around and put us under our latest caution here tonight from Kansas Speedway as we rejoin the field up at the front. Drivers going down pit road. Chris Berg, your race leader, hitting pit road. And, will Osmond stay out or will he come back down pit road? Looks like he's going to stay out. So, Your leaders catching up to the back of the pace cars. We find ourselves under caution for the third time here tonight. Only 8 caution laps, 8 different lead changes out of 5 different drivers here tonight. So track position seems to be a premium as well, Cody.
It does, Dave, and this is exactly what I was talking about earlier. If it's going to shape out this way, you're going to see a lot of drivers inside of the top 10 right now that are hunting for their first. We're not talking about their, maybe their first race that they've had here. They are hunting for their first RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series win. Now, we are inside of 30 laps to go. Going to be probably, I would say, about 26, 25 laps to go when this is over. What do you think the top 10 of this field is going to look like when they all realize, hey, I could win this thing?
I don't know. I truly don't know, because we all know the great dreaded horrible saying, cautions breed cautions. So this thing isn't over. We've still got 27 laps to go, going to be about 25 when we go back. Green flag racing here from Kansas Speedway on Turn 3 Racing Network. But, Cody, you just never know. You could have a driver spin the tires. You could have somebody miss a gear. You never know what quite is going to happen when you have to reset and redo things here for a restart. So, I don't know. Things could get interesting and hairy very, very rapidly.
Right here's something you're going to see that you have not seen all night. So grab you a bag of popcorn. Katie Osmond is going to restart either 13th or 14th. We'll see how it shakes back out. He'll either be 13th or 14th as he gets ready to, I guess he's going to make the wave around, it looks like, with Chris Berg being the leader. I am interested to see how that 88 is going to be in traffic. But here's the big thing. Earlier, we seen our points leader, Troy Radford, get in some traffic, and it ended up costing him his night. Well, you pointed out earlier in your spoiler alert that he has to finish this race, but he's going to be in some heavy traffic, Dave.
Yeah, but, it's one of those things, man. You just finish, and you're okay. You know what I mean? And I hate to win it that way. If I was Osmond, no driver really wants to be, quote-unquote, handed a championship. Osmond has worked his butt off all season long to put himself in the position to be able to do what he's able to do here tonight. So as Osmond makes his way back up to the field, we will catch up with the front of the field. Gonna restart inside row number 1, your race leader, the 67 of Chris Berg, lining up to his outside, the 00 of Roy Hyde. The 14 of Corey Walters and Cody Terry make up row number 2 for this restart, rounding out your top 5. The 38 of Derek Robinson, and look at that, Brendan Medford right there in the 6th position. Doug Wasaki in 7th, pace car down and away, and we are set to go back. Green flag racing once again. On the loud pedal is Berg. Green flag in the air here at Kansas Speedway, well away from the field. Great restart for Berg as Roy Hyde battles with Corey Walter, 2, almost 3 wide through 1 and 2.
This will be Roy Hyde. He'll go to the outside of Corey Walters. Roy's going to have the run, and he's going to bring Cody Terry with him. Out of the top 5 cars in that restart, only one of them had been to victory lane here in the RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series. The other 4 drivers are prowling that one driver, and that's Chris Berg. He's showing the way off of turn 4.
Showing the way off of turn 4, but showing some skills and some talent back here from the 3rd, 4th, 5th position on track. Oh, Terry sideways trying to catch it. Oh, around. Oh, my goodness. Cars flipping.
Wow. Roy Hyde was going around off of turn 2, but in the meantime, Cody Terry into the wall off Corey Walters, and all kinds of mayhem, Dave, off of turn 2.
We'll have to back that up one time. Take a look at that with the turn 3 replay. There you see a shot of Roy Hyde. He's getting sideways. Cody Terry getting sideways into Medford. Dustin Ping goes flipping. My goodness, there's so many different cars involved in this. We'll back it up, see if we can't get a better look for you here as we come around on the front stretch up above high from the blimp cam here at Kansas Speedway. And you'll see 2 or 3 drivers with some trouble all at one time. Look at that, 2 different drivers spinning, contact, more contact, hard impact by Dustin Ping. Nowhere to go, flipping on his lid, finally rolling it back over. More cars spinning after all the carnage coming off of turn number 2. More contact between some drivers that have already made some heavy contact during that mess of a wreck. My goodness, that's going to put a lot of drivers behind pit wall.
Yeah, it is, Dave. But did you notice who slipped through that accident and the car didn't get a scratch? KD Osmond come right through that mess, and he is already back up to 7th.
Yeah, that's a Magic Man moment right there, if I've ever seen one. Trouble, chaos, carnage, right in front of you, and able to navigate your way through cars spinning down the track, up the track, flipping like a top on their lid. Still able to make their way through all the smoke and chaos. And Katie Osmond, man, I tell you what, just a minute ago, Cody, you were worried that he was going to start in the back of the pack. And I mentioned cautions breed cautions. You never know. And look at that. Right up inside the top 10, now knocking on the door of your top 5.
I tell you what, I was trying to turn around here and tell the folks in the booth, our crew here, to check out the in-car camera of Katie Osmond coming through that wreck. You want to see something exciting. I just had a glimpse of it out of the corner of my eye on another monitor that we had over here. But KD come off of turn 2. It looked like something out of the Days of Thunder movie. The track was all full of smoke. There was cars everywhere. He did a little bit of a move with his hands, and he totally drove right through it. No contact whatsoever. That was pretty awesome driving from our current points leader.
Yeah, that was some very, very, very good driving out there by Katie Osmond to get himself through this latest caution. And I mean, we can expect a little bit more action here on track as things are winding down closer to the finish of tonight's race, tonight's championship race. The Parkinson's Foundation 100 here in the RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series, live on Turn 3 Racing Network. From myself and Cody up here in the booth joining me, first and foremost, appreciate you coming out and joining me here tonight. And I'll go ahead and make a big announcement. If you haven't been following the things on the Facebook media pages, Cody inking a deal with us here at Turn 3 Racing Network to join us in the booth for season number 2 for the RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series. So big shout out to you, Cody, man. What's it like coming on board here to be able to call the great racing action provided by these guys we see on track?
Well, Dave, I'm excited, man. I got the invite just about a little over a month ago. What sold me is we're going to go to places like Iowa. We're going to go to places like North Wilkesboro. And then on the schedule, Laguna Seca. We're going to go there and take these cars. So the excitement I've had in the booth in the 3 races I've done with you, I could not say no to the RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series for the 2nd season. The drivers put on a great show, and I hope the fans are enjoying everything they're getting to see. And coming up in a few weeks, we're going to start at Iowa and do it all again.
That we are. We're going to get things started up here after a brief vacation for the RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series. And man, Laguna Seca, whoo, that is going to be a fun one for sure. But I tell you what's going to be funner Is that even a word? Not sure. Just going to keep on rolling with it anyway, like that. Ford Buttstain out in front of the field. Kick it out of the way here in just a moment. There it goes. Finally, we'll get back to green flag racing. Chris Berg waiting, hitting the gas, and away he goes once again with a great jump on the field on this latest restart. Berg leads Hilton down into turn 1 by 2 car lengths. Hilton gonna slide into second with no issues.
Yeah, and I want to highlight this again. Other than Berg, other than Osmond and Blunt, 8 of the top 10, none of them have a win this season. They're hunting for their first win, so you know there's a lot of hungry drivers in the top 10 right now. But right, it is Chris Berg showing the way with Tyler Hilton and Walters trying to run him down. Here comes Damon Cox. Where did he come from? In the Miller High Life, number 57.
Yeah, Damon Cox, one of those, we usually say comers and goers, and Damon Cox definitely one of the comers up through the field. He has made his way back from the rear of the field. I remember we talked about him one time back in the 20th position or further through the field, and he has found a way up here to the front, now losing the 4th spot to the very fast Katie Osmond, who is still chasing down his championship. But great run being had by that 57 of Damon Cox, as well as the 34 of Doug Wasaki just behind him.
Yeah, and a driver that, Dave, we put out pretty much to pasture earlier in this race was Gordon Larson Jr. He's up to 8th right now after all the mishaps from some of the drivers earlier in this race. He's in 8th. But right now, what a battle. Damon Cox going backwards as he is battling with Doug Wasaki off of turn 4.
Yeah, these drivers battling for every position as we are under 20 laps to go. And Miss Linda, I see you chiming in out there on the YouTube side of things. And my heart sunk as well with that latest caution. I looked to make sure where Katie was, if he got through it. Oh, contact between Damon Cox and Eric Blount on entry to 3. Both of those drivers save it, but my eye was on Katie and whether or not he was getting through that latest incident. Luckily he was, so you can breathe a little easy there, Miss Linda. Things are still going okay.
Yeah, he definitely put a move on the back straightaway to get through that traffic. And right now he's moved himself all the way up into the 3rd spot, and he is coming back up through the field rather quickly. And right now that championship, that very first RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series championship, is now 14 laps away from Katie Osmond.
Katie Osmond only 14 laps away, but sitting comfortably in the 3rd position. Has a 0.7 of a second gap to the closest car behind him, and is about 0.7 of a second away from the car in front of him. So not sure if he's going to push anymore, just kind of ride right here. If it was me, I'm still going for the race win because I don't think I can lose enough laps to end up losing the championship. Keep in mind, he does still have to finish this race. He could still potentially not only lose the race, but lose the championship if he finishes and Dustin Ping or one of these drivers with the latest issues, Justin Walters sitting in 17th. If Justin were able to come around and pass him, then that might be some trouble there for Osmond, as the points that would separate himself from Troy Radford would only be about 5 or 6 positions. So not sure if it would be enough. Yeah, that's tough. Osmond still has to finish on the lead lap.
But right now the battle is for the lead. Chris Berg, Tyler Hilton, they are nose to tail in 3 and 4. Earlier this year, we seen Hilton put on a show and just come up short of a win. Right now, he's on the back bumper of Chris Berg, hunting for his first RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series win. And right now, we have 11 laps to go. Can he get around the 67 of Berg? Dave, we're going to find out, but he seems like he's a lot quicker, especially off the turn.
Seems to be getting a good run off the corner as we jump on board with the driver of that 82 machine, Tyler Hilton. running right there. One car lane underneath the 67 of Chris Berg, hugging that Harry Gant. High, wide, and handsome line off of 4 back through the tri-oval once again. 10 laps to go here from Kansas Speedway.
10 laps to go in the final race here in season number 1 of the RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. We thank you so much for joining us. We're going to crown a champion tonight, but right now we've got a young driver trying to get to the top spot, but right now a driver that's already got a win this year, Chris Berg, is hanging on. He's trying to get his second win of the season. Is now 9 laps to go this time by.
9 laps remaining. The lead still 0.2 of a second for Berg over Hilton. Hilton digging, trying to visit victory lane here tonight at Kansas Speedway. I believe that would be a second win for Hilton, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to flip back over and double check that one. But Katie Osmond looks like he's just maintaining that gap back here in the 3rd position, 1 second off of the battle for the race lead, and he has seen 8 laps to go before he can raise the trophy here tonight.
Yeah, Dave, I think he's just calmly sitting there in 3rd place just in case our top 2 drivers get together, because you got to be thinking now that crew chief is in his ear. Race your race. It's yours to win. Just avoid what might happen in the closing laps. And Dave, this season 1 of the RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series is down to only 7 laps here in the Parkinson Foundation 100.
7 laps remain in tonight's race and in the season for the RFC NEXTGEN. For the RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series, these drivers will be jumping back in these Arca Menards K&N Chevy Impalas for season number 2. So everybody getting accustomed to the cars, putting on a great show all season long. Can't wait till we get to season number 2 in a few weeks. And the man that can't wait to get to the checkered flag here tonight, the 67 of Chris Berg. Going to give you a little bit of his in-race info for you here today. There you see, started back in 7th, fell just about 1 or 2 positions behind him, says 8th, but I believe we've seen him a little further through the field than that. Now currently running in the top spot as we cross the line. That time by 5 laps to go as the drivers make their way off of turn number 2 and back down the backstretch.
Yeah, and as we go down the back straightaway, the top 2 right there nose to tail. You remember just about 4 weeks ago, Hilton was in 2nd trying to run down Radford. He looked like he didn't have a chance in the world. And we came to about 3 laps to go, and that car lit on fire. We'll see if he can do that again. He said he saved a little for the last run. Well, the last run could be when they hit the stripe the next time, because, Dave, we're going to be coming to only 3 laps to go.
With only 3 laps to go, heavy battle back for the 5th and 6th position between Blount and Walters. Walters up the track after crowding Blount down near the grass. The 6 was able to make the pass in 1 and 2, carry the momentum down the backstretch into 3 and 4, and he's going to set his sights now on that 34 of Doug Wasaki. So positions still changing throughout the field. Another battle on track a little further through the field with just 3 laps to go. Damon Cox has Gordon Larson Jr. right there on his heels.
Yeah, and the battle for the lead still about 2 car lengths. Chris Berg has just methodically kept smooth, kept pace, trying to stay out front. Now there is only 2 laps to go. If that 82 machine of Tyler Hilton has anything, he has got to turn it on now, because now the clock is ticking and it's not going in the favor of Tyler Hilton.
And as the clock is ticking for Hilton, the clock is ticking for Osmond to secure his championship. We'll jump back up with your race leaders as they come to the line. White flag is in the flagman's hand. Coming to the line, getting the 1 to go. Here tonight, the 67 of Chris Berg takes the 1 to go presented to you by NEXTGEN Racing Series. Man, I tell you what, they have done a great job coming together with the Racing for a Cause boys, bringing you the RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series down the backstretch for the final time tonight. The 67 of Chris Berg looks like he's going to have tonight's race win, but look at here, man on the screen, coming to the checkered flag, gonna walk away with the championship after tonight's race. The 88 of K.D. Osmond will be crowned your Season 1 champion here in the RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series.
Wow, maybe not the way that KD wanted to win the championship, but regardless, he is able to walk away as the fireworks go off here in Kansas City, Kansas, out of turns 3 and 4. The fireworks flashing here at the Speedway, and your 2020 RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series champion, KD Osmond in the 88 Sundrop Chevrolet.
There you see Osmond throwing it around, getting a little bit of celebration on as he watches Chris Berg burn it down as well. My goodness, what a great job by both of these drivers out here tonight. Enjoying the race win is Chris Berg. Enjoying the championship is KD Osmond. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to step away for just a brief moment, get things set up for our post-race interview, so don't go anywhere. We will be right back with your race winner and championship winner, KD Osmond and Chris Berg. Back once again here at Kansas Speedway at the conclusion of tonight's Parkinson's Foundation 100 presented to you by Mason Dixon Motorsports. Your race winner here tonight being sponsored by Relentless Wrestling out of Hendersonville, North Carolina. Chris Berg, and that 67, man, he got the job done, walked away with the race win. Chris, how you doing? You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear. Heart's still pounding pretty hard right now. That was a tough one to hold Tyler off.
I hear you, brother. You had a great race. You ran up near the front of the field, fell back just a little bit there for a moment, but continued to charge throughout the night and found yourself at the top spot at the end of this thing. Man, tell me how it feels to visit victory lane here in the championship race and just the way the season went for you.
It feels great to end it with the victory. I know at the beginning should have won Atlanta. Pit strategy and stuff kind of screwed me there to start out, and won Bristol and Darlington back to back, and got dumped at Auto Club when I had probably the fastest car, and just little things went wrong, but then came back and to win here, and then Dale ends up with the championship. A sweep of the weekend for Blackhawk Motorsports. Can't complain, and I mean got a new sponsor that came on board, Ohio and Indiana Roofing. So, this is the first race with them on here, and Dale gets the championship and I get the win. You can't beat it.
Well, man, it was definitely exciting there at the end, and we'll let you get ready to celebrate your victory and get ready to celebrate a championship with your teammates. So, Chris, before we let you go, would you like to give any shout-outs, thank yous, love yous, anything like that?
Just big thank you to Blackhawk Motorsports, my teammates Dale, Mike, and Dustin Ping just came on board with us for next season, as well as our new sponsor Ohio and Indiana Roofing. What a great way for them to jump on board in first outing.
Well, my man, congratulations once again on your race win, and enjoy the little bit of summer break we have here in between season number 1 and season number 2 for the RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series, and yeah, man, it's been a pleasure all year watching you, and congratulations once again.
Yeah, thank you. It's our pleasure to have you up in the booth. You do an amazing job.
Well, there you go. Some few final parting words from your race winner out there tonight, the 67 of Chris Berg, and I believe that, Cody, you finally had a chance to jump out of the booth and run down there to pit road to get in a few words with the driver finishing in second here today.
Yeah, Dave, thanks. We have caught up with Tyler Hilton on the scanner just a few moments ago when the race come to a conclusion. He was shaking his head, and you could hear in his voice, man, second place again. And we talked about Auto Club earlier this year, made a run for the win late, and here tonight it looked like it was setting up that way again. But Tyler, you find yourself in that runner-up spot again. But man, this car, you've got to be pleased with the way this season ended going into season 2.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely, I think this whole Falcon Motorsports team, for sure it was us and Blackhawk Motorsports all season long, and man, so close. I'm a part-time driver here, 11 starts. I think tonight would have been my ninth top 5. It's like my third, I think second or something like that, but so close. Just Berg, he was on a rail. That was going to be really hard to pass him, and I got right up to him, but just couldn't do anything.
We were watching in the booth. You got all the way up to the back bumper, and then it seemed like you kind of started to fade back. Was there any saving going on, or had it just reached a point that you felt like the car had pretty much gave you everything it had?
I was trying a couple different things. Berg, he was running a little bit higher than me, if you can believe it or not. I know we were right up against the wall, but he was just that tad bit higher than me in the turns, and it was giving that extra little bit of a run off. So as we were going, I could get right up to his bumper, but then with the aero difference and stuff like that, I can't go under him because just the way that the lane is around here, it wasn't going to make a pass on the bottom. The only way that I was going to be able to move him was, to bump and run him, but I'm not going to do that to him. He was on a rail. I was hoping he would make a mistake. I did try a little bit of strategy where I kind of backed off a little bit, let the tires cool down a little bit, and then hopefully try to make a charge up there again. And I did, but it was too little too late. And there was no getting around Berg. He had the class of the field at the very end of that. But yeah, it was a heck of a ride tonight, that's for sure. And I'll take it. It was fun. So maybe we'll get that win next season. I'll check off that next year.
Well, Tyler, man, I know second place not where you wanted, but you threw out some stats there a minute ago. 11 starts, 9 top fives out of those 11 starts. I think you got a bright future here in the RFC Next Gen K&N Series. Before I let you go, man, I know you got a lot of great people on that car. I know you want to give some shout-outs.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Victory Junction gang, definitely thank you to them for coming on board this year. Sorry, I'm out of breath. That was a tough one. But yeah, thanks to them for coming on board this year. Everything that they do down in North Carolina and here in Kansas too, kind of a home track for them as well. So thanks to the Falcon Motorsports crew, Troy. I know he had a heck of a run tonight going. A little bit of tough luck there, kind of took him out of the championship. So that was kind of a heartbreaker to see. I wanted to see how it was going to play out between him and KD, but yeah, it was a great run tonight. And also shout out to Blackhawk Motorsports and Katie Osmond on his championship. Very well earned and deserved. He was unstoppable pretty much all season long. It was a battle between him and Troy and came pretty much right down to the wire. So big shout. Yeah, we'll pack it up and go into next season.
Well, Tyler, we just appreciate you spending time with us. A guy that's got a big future here in the RFC Next Gen K&N Series. Tyler Hilton comes home in second place here tonight from Kansas Speedway. We go back to the booth where I do believe our very own Dave Worrell has got the inaugural 2020 RFC Next Gen K&N Series champion, Katie Osmond.
That I do. Finally able to catch up with the driver finishing in third here tonight. So that's a good note to have walking away with a podium position out there tonight. But more importantly, Katie, how's it feel to walk away as the Season 1 champion here for the RFC Next Gen K&N Series?
Oh, man, it's so awesome. I raced my heart out all season. Every single race I put in my all, and there's just no better way to top off a season than the championship.
Well, I'm going to mention something that maybe a few of the fans and viewers out there that don't know the inner workings of the league as much as I do up here in the booth. Being a younger driver in the series compared to some of the drivers that you are running with, how's it feel to go out there and kind of flex some of that youth muscle, and say, hey, look, we might be young, but we can still get the job done?
Oh, man. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But, in iRacing and in every league, I don't think age really matters. Anybody can get out here and win races. But, to be able to say, I won a championship against some more experienced guys, that's just awesome.
Well, man, a great run for you all season long. 4 wins on the season and brought the standings down into where it was tonight. It was make or break it all from the get-go from you in your earlier pre-race interview. And, you didn't quite get the race win, but more importantly, you did walk away with the championship. So, I mean, man, you got to have a long, long list folded on a piece of paper inside that fire suit to thank.
Yeah, as always, I need to thank my family for watching. They're awesome. Big thanks to my teammates, Dustin Ping, Chris Berg, and Mike Massengill. Chris, he came away with the win tonight. It was awesome over Tyler Hilton. I got to thank Ohio Indiana Roofing. They just came on board as a sponsor last week, so that is just absolutely awesome too. And then everyone who's racing. I mean, I'm sorry to see what happened to Troy. It kind of sucks to win a championship like that. But, he's been the fiercest competitor all season long. Cleanest racer. But, I mean, everyone in here is super clean. And, this wouldn't happen without everyone here. And lastly, thank you guys for broadcasting. You do an amazing job every single week.
Well, Dale, I mean, you gave us some kind words here in the booth, but without drivers like you out there on the track, I wouldn't have much to say or broadcast to. So I appreciate you and all the hard driving you've done all season long. Congratulations once again, man. Walking away with the championship, no matter how it unfolds, your name still goes down in the record books as the winner of season number 1. So hats off to you on some very big accomplishments this season. And before we let you go and celebrate with that champagne, would you like to give any final shout-outs, love yous, or anything like that?
Again, just to everyone in here. I mean, this wouldn't happen without everyone who shows up every single week. And I look forward to a season 2. Hopefully I can get 2 in a row.
All right, well, there you have it. Some few final words from the driver walking away in the 3rd position here tonight for the Parkinson's Foundation 100 from Kansas Speedway, and your championship winner. I mean, he got the job done out there tonight, Cody. K.D. Osmond walking away as the season number 1 champion. And, well, I mean, that's going to bring us to not a whole lot left to do up here in the booth, except for run through your finishing order for tonight's race. So that's what we'll do up here in the booth. Your race results look a little something like this. Walking away with the race win, the 67 of Chris Berg. 2nd place, the 82 of Tyler Hilton. 3rd goes to your championship winner, the 88 of K.D. Osmond. 4th place goes to the 34 of Doug Wasaki.
Rolling off in the 5th spot, Eric Blunt, the number 6. In the 6th spot, Corey Walters came in with the number 14 machine. 7th place tonight, number 21 of Jeffrey Vandervoort. And in the 8th spot tonight, the 00 Roy Hyde.
9th position here tonight, the 01 of Gordon Larson Jr. rounding out your top 10, the 57 of Damon Cox. Adam Novak walked away in 11th spot, and Brian Snare, his 45 machine, walking away in 12th.
Final driver on the lead lap in the 13th spot, it was Derek Robinson in the number 38 machine. 14th, it was Chris Medford. He was 1 lap down in the number 84. 15th spot, rounding out the top 10, it was Jason Edmonston in the number 71. And Ray Radford rounded out the top 16 in the number 47 machine.
17th goes to the 46 of Justin Walters, the 83 of Brandon Medford, finishing in 18th. 19th is the 1 of Dustin Ping, and rounding out your top 20 was Cody Terry.
Early trouble in this one for Michael Mason-Gill. He came in 21st. Brian Mescal Jr., who had that trouble in turn number 3 that collected their 23rd place finisher, Troy Radford. And then 24th, it was Lance Yancey in the number 77 machine.
Finishing 25th here in tonight's race, the 17 of Alan Westman. And after very early trouble in tonight's Parkinson Foundation 100, the 8 of Kendall Levron will be your final runner for tonight's race. And well, Cody, man, that's it. Nothing left to do except take a couple of breathers, get ready for things to fire off here in a couple more weeks here for season number 2. So I want to give a shout out to you and everybody else out there watching here on Turn 3 Racing Network. And man, yeah, can't wait to work the whole season with you. And yeah, I guess that's about it from us.
Yeah, Dave, I'm excited. Glad to be able to do it. Glad to be able to take a break and get ready for June 14th when we head to Iowa. It's going to be a lot of fun, the Iowa 125 to kick off the season. And if you like the racing you saw, well, you're going to see a lot more of it when we kick off season 2 here in just a few weeks.
All right, well, with all that being said, everything in the books, everything done, all the bills paid here tonight. So from myself, Dave in the Cave, up here in the booth, and my good buddy Cody Early calling all the action with me here tonight. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you again next time here on Turn 3 Racing Network.